Hey, everybody. Today is February 9th, 2024. I'm Gene.
And I'm Zane.
And you're hanging with Uncle.
How's it going?
Man, I feel good. I feel better.
Good.
Looking forward to tonight's show. I think we have a good one lined up. So please hit that subscribe button.
Yes, and if you haven't hit the bell already, please do so you can get notifications. And hit the like button for us, please. Because kind of boost the ratio, of course, but let us know if you like the show.
It helps. Yeah, it gets the word that we exist out there to the rest of the world.
But also, we want to know if you actually like what you watch. You know, we
Absolutely.
Want to see some reaction.
So feel free to leave comments in the comment section below.
And also, live chat is there as well. So if you want to come in during the show and say hi, we're here.
All right,
anyways,
man.
let's get. Well, first, it's been a minute. How you doing?
Like I said, I'm better. I had a nasty cough, man. I was like a phlegm factory. I just kept hacking up wads of phlegm.
Yeah, last week we didn't do a show. We kind of just took a break from our break.
Yeah.
in a way. But we're back in action again. We'll be every Friday. Come over here and say hello every Friday. But I do want to get started right away because I think these conversations we're going to have are going to...
It's important.
Yeah, they're very important. And I think... Who else to kick it off better than Gene himself?
So, civics.
Yes.
If you have questions, again, how your government works or what you can do to help bring the normalness or normalcy you think we should be acting with pleasantry and decorum toward one another, understand civics.
Yes. It's something that I don't like. We already know that on the show. I'm not a big fan of it. But it is technically important in a way because it affects your life throughout the day. And understanding just not only what it affects, who it affects, but how the process works, it goes a long way.
Think of it like a map.
Basic or tree, like something.
Right. So remember, in the United States, we have 3 co-equal branches of government. Number 1 is the legislative branch. And there's 2 arms to that legislative branch. The House of Representatives and the United States Senate.
Okay.
And they each do something differently. The House of Representatives you vote for every 2 years because that's what the framers saw as the level of government closest to the people. Because you vote for your United States Senator every 6 years.
Yeah.
And then the president is every 4. So every 2 years, you're voting for every 435 people in the House of Representatives, which is where you get your Speaker of the House and the majority. Which is why right now Republicans have the majority in the House of Representatives, and Mike Johnson from Louisiana is Speaker of the House.
Okay.
All right. In the Senate right now, Democrats have the majority, and Chuck Schumer from the state of New York is the Senate Majority Leader.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we hear of why it's important to understand that why they're first, that is where laws are made. They're not made in the White House. They're made in the legislative branch in the House and Senate.
So technically the big vote isn't the presidential vote.
Correct. The presidential vote is probably
a scapegoat.
Yeah, it is. It's the person everybody, you either get blamed for everything or you get rewarded for everything, even though you may have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
For example, you hear, oh my God, look at oil prices. Well, Biden's policies are killing us. Well, name one oil field Joe Biden owns. Name one gas station Joe Biden owns.
Owns. Like,
Nothing.
president doesn't make him king. He doesn't own.
Yeah, right. It's people like Charles Koch and people in that industry you need to talk to about why gas prices are the way they are because they own them. They set the prices. It is not the president, no matter who's sitting in the Oval Office. You know?
And then also the 2 branches you just mentioned as well. The changes that we are willing to make or we want to make go to them first and they decide if it's a good enough change or not before it even gets to the president. And majority, I hear complaints that, oh, the president didn't do this again. And even me, I do it too. I say it all the time because I feel like we're really sensitized to thinking that the presidential vote, the president, this person is the overall for us. But in technicality, what should really be for us is the remaining parts of the government that is restricting them.
So think about it like this. When the Constitution was made, we were breaking away from England and becoming our own sovereign nation, correct?
Correct.
And what they most wanted to make sure we didn't have was a king, which is why the Constitution is written so that George III has no power over the other branches of government.
Nope.
And that because that's who was king of England at the time.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So when we want to know why laws are the way they are, it's Congress.
Yeah, we don't look at the president.
Now, here's the big thing, and this is what I think we all need to pay attention to, because when it comes to money in government, okay, this is what we call the donor class. We'll just keep throwing Charles Koch out there again because we know he gives a boatload of money to the Republican Party. Okay, but what you don't realize is that he also gives a boatload of money to the Democratic Party as well. They get their money from the same people.
Same source.
The same place. The same source. It's not about which party is the party of money. They both are.
I've been trying to say that for years. Yeah.
Right? The difference is in the social issues. Okay? So, for example, every Democrat I know, besides Joe Manchin, supports a woman's right to choose. Find me one Republican that believes that.
Now, there are some that exist in the world.
But are they running for office?
No.
Because remember, okay, Ohio was the last state to codify Roe into their legislation. When the real question is, did you vote for the person that wanted to protect your rights? Or did you just vote for the Republican Party because that's your team?
I have a question to follow up with that. If there is somebody who thinks differently than somebody in the Republican Party, what happens to that said person? Do you think they even get like an edge in any votes? Do they get any screen time? Do they get any publicity?
None. None whatsoever.
So it's like they like gatekeep who's supposed to be as a Republican. Oh, you check all the boxes.
It's count. A team.
Or same. I mean, honestly, Democrat too. Oh, you think all these two? You check the box over here, like we've talked about.
It's a team.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a team, and if you support that team, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're part of us. We'll give money to you because you're going to support what we want. But if you're a Republican, because I know one here in my congressional district, and I'm just going to shout him out. Chris Sylvester is an honest Republican. That is somebody that I could get behind.
Yeah, I've had a few conversations with some Republican people that I know, and what did you call him again? He is a what Republican?
He's not on the team Republican.
Not on the team. He's off the team.
So when I say he's Republican, he identifies as Republican, but just my opinion, he is more economically Republican on efficient fiscal spending.
Which is what I normally think Republicans are. And going back to the people I've talked to is what they think Republicans should be. I've talked to a few and women as well who understand that, yes, that abortion thing was not good. That was incorrect. And they are still Republican. So they say, I just think it really is just...
And that's because they vote for their team and not the issue.
The issue. If we were to find a way to get information somehow, to get our votes to the right people somehow, change our government somehow, I don't ever foresee that changing because it's a machine that has been running the same way for so long.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
This is how you crack that code.
Okay. Okay.
Because everybody asks, well, what can I do? Well, how do I know this is the right person? During election season, whatever state you're in, your Secretary of State's office has a list of candidates in your jurisdiction that are running for office. You look at all those candidates because all those candidates have a website.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see where they stand on the issues.
Mm-hmm.
So don't pay attention to what political party somebody is representing. Look at the issues they represent and do they align with yours? Because, again, find one Republican right now on the team that supports a woman's right to choose, that supports a living wage, that supports universal health care, that supports fully funding public education.
So to hop onto something that you and I have been looking into and looking at recently, we've been watching Channel 5. I'm a patron with Channel 5, and he showed us the border policies, if you've been watching him.
Andrew Callahan.
Not necessarily where I'm going with it. The conversation about the border is we're not funding it correctly, and it's the president's fault, which is not the case from this conversation which we are having now.
Correct.
The idea is it's the policies that are not being pushed to the president, being filtered and kept by our two teams, essentially, away from the president.
So, again, what the president has is authority over, again, he can either sign into law or veto whatever Congress puts on his desk.
Yep.
So he can't do border funding and anything he wants on the border because he's not King George III.
Yeah. Because he's not a king that can go and do like this. If that were the case, he would have done it already. Honestly.
Correct.
Maybe we are doing something
here's
wrong.
the thing, and something else which I don't understand, which I've said before.
Yeah.
I don't, come November, I'm not supporting a party that cannot function.
I'm definitely going to base my vote off of individuality too as well. We've talked about this before on the show, I'm sure, multiple times.
Yeah.
But it's like that's where my vote goes now, is to people that I know are going to support what I want, and not based on team, obviously. But could you imagine a government where one side works, the other side works, and they become a cohesive mindset and work together to get their policies and their policies to work together to one, and then be able to send it up to the president? Could you imagine that?
So,
it working? That would be amazing.
I want to jump into our next subject, but before we close, there is something that I want to say.
Okay.
So, I'm registered to vote no party preference, which means
called no party preference.
I cannot vote in the presidential primary here in the state of Arizona. Okay.
You can't?
I cannot.
Oh,
I can vote in every other one. Like I'll vote in the Senate and in the House. I just can't vote for president in the primary. I can vote in November, just not now in the primary.
Okay, now I'm confused, because if somebody wants to be independent, not tied to a party, they can't vote for president?
In the primary, no.
In the primary, no.
But in November, yes. But here's my thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so last year, I didn't vote for Joe Biden in the primary.
Okay.
I voted for Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
I didn't vote for Hillary in the primary. I voted for Bernie. So, really, Obama's the only one I voted for in the primary.
That got
president. So, it's like, I know how I feel. It doesn't matter then. I don't care, because nobody I vote for.
It sounds like the presidential votes is just like the Grammys.
It's...
And it's not even based off a popular vote.
It's the king and queen of the prom. This is our team, and this is who you want. We want you to vote for to be our prom king.
Is it the cool guy or the not so cool guy with the sweet girl? Yeah, that's. Oh God.
You see what I'm saying?
Seeing where you're coming from. Yeah, and then that whole thing not being able to vote in the primary thing. I think that's kind of that's an issue.
There are states that do. New Hampshire is one of them. South Carolina is another one.
Why is that a thing? Why?
Because here in Arizona now, all right, and I'm saying this from experience.
Taken away from your
No.
Yeah.
Remember, for 4 years, I was on the state committee. And state committee is where the platform of the party was set. And every 2 years we vote. And I remember the arguments about allowing independents to vote. And really what they are a bunch of scared rabbits who are cuddling, hand-wringing, saying, well, they're just going to come in and sabotage our election. Instead of being big tent and welcoming, you want people to support you but tell them they can't vote for it.
So they don't want to be salesmen to the people who have opinions, is what they're saying.
They want to protect their team.
Yeah.
That's what state committee was all about.
That's what I was thinking. I was just trying to, I wanted to have you piece it together for me. It sounds like, again, that whole, we're filtering certain people into certain things. You have to do it this way or the other way. Sorry. It's like, they don't want us to make our own decisions.
I'm no longer a PC and I'm no longer in state committee.
Holy wow. Well, anyways, I was just thinking about it that way. It's like, holy whoa. But okay. So if I am a Democratic voter, am I able to vote for a Republican in the primary?
No, because you will only get a Democratic ballot. And even as an independent, I wouldn't be able to get a combination of everybody.
I remember I've seen,
for president, when I get my ballot and I see who's running for senator in the state of Arizona, I will have every candidate on that ballot.
That is actually fucked up. That independents can't vote in the primary.
And not in the presidential primary.
That's really fucked up.
And again, that's Arizona.
So then what if the majority of America is independent then? What if, for say, like that were to become a thing? Or the votes wouldn't be accurate.
Again, it would be up to the people to decide this person is not a Republican, not a Democrat. They're independent. I'm tired of a two-party system. And that's why Democrats are shitting in their pants right now over Bobby Kennedy running as an independent because he's going to take votes away from Joe Biden. He's stealing votes. No, they're
not. He's not stealing nothing. He's
People
winning
are
them.
stealing it. They're voting for what they want because you're trying to squash how they feel. And
he's winning the votes. He's probably winning Republican votes too.
He's taking votes away from both of them. Now, I've never seen him ahead in any poll.
Yeah.
And as far as taking votes away from people,
they already get the shit under the stick anyway.
According to the polls, it helps Biden more, but still, he's earning his own votes. He's not taking votes away from anybody.
And if I correctly remember in a conversation we had prior in one of our episodes, I don't quite remember what it is, an independent voter's vote is only one vote, correct? Or not even one vote. It's a fraction of a vote, isn't it?
Well, okay, so I'll
or is
say,
that how independent representatives
in
work?
Order to get on the ballot, and at least here in the state of Arizona, right?
Okay.
So if I'm running for Congress in my district as a Democrat, say I need 2,500 votes to get on the ballot.
Okay.
Or signatures on my petition.
I'm meshing two things together that are different. Okay, my bad.
Right.
I'm thinking of this thing. Well, I wouldn't say Kennedy is making me shit my pants. Deb C. Riley said.
Thanks, Deb.
No, but that's the thing though. Like, if people can't actually choose who they're voting for actively that's really weird to me.
And that's states' rights because again, that's Arizona is, and they're not the only state that acts like that, but there are states that do allow independents to vote in their presidential primary.
Wow. What the heck? I didn't even know about that. Yeah. I'm learning civics. That's crazy.
So, all right, man. I want to get on to the next topic.
Go ahead. Let's go.
And I know it's kind of old news now, but we haven't been on the air in a while. And I want to talk about Nikki Haley.
Okay.
Because she went on the Breakfast Club and, did her interview with Charlamagne the God and the other host on there.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, you want to reach out to other voters. I respect that. I'm glad they gave you a platform. You're a candidate. You need to have your voice heard. But then you get on that platform in front of the audience that listens to the Breakfast Club and say that there's no racism in America.
Okay. Oh, God. Sorry, okay.
Let's just say the springboard was slavery. For 100 years in the United States, there was slavery. There was racism for the first fucking 100 years.
Okay, everything's hit me once at a time. Deb just replied and said she removed this conversation. She spelled shit with a C. She said chit and said, oh, sorry, they're shit. Yes. Welcome to the show, Deb.
Yeah.
But that cracks me up that she would go on a Charlemagne show.
Right?
And say racism doesn't exist in America. I have an opinion on Charlemagne. I'm a big Mac Miller fan. And Charlemagne does not give white rappers a blink of an eye. At all. Doesn't give them any interest in them. Tries to talk them down all the time. So it's like, that's very interesting to me.
And I'm not a Charlemagne fan, however.
Yeah.
Let's remember who the audience is.
Exactly. Thank you, Deb. She says we rock. Thank you very much. I like feedback. Thank you.
Yes.
I always try to give back to the feedback. But it's just really funny that the person who isn't really accepting of white rappers and is mainly one of those people in the industry who would say that hip hop is a black thing, which I don't agree. It's an art. It's a human thing. It's art. It's poetry.
Thank you.
It's poetry in motion. That's all it is.
And instead of singing it, it's spoken.
Mm-hmm. It's
just like square dancing.
To say racism doesn't exist on Charlemagne's platform is hilarious. Okay, continue. Yeah.
So
in the audience.
Okay, so then what did we do? We fought an entire civil war on the issue of slavery.
Mm-hmm. Which is a big turning point in our country.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now racism in practice through slavery because it's been abolished.
Right.
However, we're only going to say you're worth 3/5 of a person. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I'm not even a whole person, but there's no racism in America.
I remember that one.
Jesus Christ. Man, Jesus wept.
Yeah. A lot after hearing that one.
Right? And we went through an entire civil rights movement, lynchings for people just to have the right to vote, to have their voice heard and counted equally as an American citizen.
You know what's really funny to me? I think, America's not racist. I think right now, majority of us are not racist. I think majority of us do have prejudices and stereotypes, though.
I would say, I would agree, except I would just push back and say 100% of us have a prejudice. Because everybody has an automatic knee-jerk reaction.
See somebody
that has prejudged something.
See somebody who's homeless, there's probably 75% of people who think drugs right away.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you have preconceptions, you have stereotypes literally in your mind. Now, where it gets to racism is where you act upon said stereotypes.
Like book banning.
Yes. And such. So
like Ron DeSantis in Florida, who's banning the education of slavery in this country, and how people felt they had the right to own people. That doesn't need to be taught anymore. So we can brainwash our kids into thinking slavery never happened here in the United States. It's actively going on, and book banning is, I think, right now is the biggest tool that they're using.
It's the biggest, yeah. It's one of the bigger filters of it right now. Now, I'm not going around and teaching my 10-year-old about that, but I'm definitely enlightening my 10-year-old on accepting people for who they are. He definitely sees that wholly.
Yeah.
People who are enable, people who have disabilities, people who are of different complexion, different color of skin, of different roots. He doesn't judge. Mainly, like we said, people all have stereotypes and preconceptions of people, but he accepts people for who they are, and he has friends of all different types of ethnic backgrounds.
Yeah,
honestly, I would say majority of his friends are black, and minority of his friends are white. Soon to be 11, soon to be 11.
Yeah,
birthday's on Sunday. But yeah.
What's up, Jack?
Yeah. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the show. But yeah, it's how you raise your kids, one. But they can learn these things properly in school. But
if you teach civics,
or keep the book burnings from happening, because again, if we don't teach our children properly, and our teachers aren't teaching our children properly, they're not getting appropriate information. We're kind of recycling back to our last conversation, our last topic, where misinformation is there.
Yeah.
People are going to be raised and taught differently. Sucks.
Yeah.
Deb replied and says, in my 1988 sociology class, the instructor said we all hold a certain degree of prejudice. He said, such as crazy women drivers. True. And I do say it, sorry, Gene, old people drive slow.
I'm just going to say I have a million of them, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
But it's like, again, do we act upon it, though? Do I get angry at, no, I mean, please, go faster, please, or at least let me go into the slower lane. But am I going around the world saying, old people can't drive anymore? Get them out of the streets.
I'll say this, man. If I'm just going along with the flow of traffic in the fast lane,
yeah,
and I'm at least doing the speed limit, I might nut up, but I'll keep it to myself because I'm at least doing the speed limit.
Right.
Now, will I go around as soon as I get the opportunity? You better believe it.
But, like, I'm sure that people are in their own bubble in their cars. They're saying things their own way, whatever. Is it going out in the world? No, you're in the privacy of your own car, of course. But, like, sometimes people just say things for comedy and within reasons. Like, like, grandma move. Like, stuff like that. But it's like...
But those aren't things that we do that negatively impact our society.
Yeah. We don't just don't act upon your prejudices. Don't act upon your stereotypes. Make jokes within your circle. That's fine. It's okay. You're allowed to do stuff. Like you and I do that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
oh man, my house is a comedy club.
We understand humans are human. Bottom line. That's it. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people need to understand that. But what I wanted to get to in the conversation about this is like us naturally as in the English language, we've taught that putting descriptors first, right? Putting describing words first, adjectives before the noun.
Right.
I think that also naturally makes us prejudiced and stereotypical when we speak to people. Say you're a Native American man instead of a man who's human, who is Native American.
In the legal world, we call that a leading question. So like when somebody says, what do you think about so-and-so's failed policies? Objection, that's a leading question. You're implying that they're failed. You're admitting facts that are not in evidence. So just remember that when you hear somebody describe something negatively, like how profoundly stupid do you think so-and-so is? Leading. You're implying that I think they're stupid and asking me to what degree.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that a lot of things do need to change. It's not that racism is more prevalent here in the world. It's just racism has more visibility now.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It exists everywhere. But don't lie to me and tell me that it doesn't exist here in the United States.
No, don't do that. That's bullshit.
Right. Anyways, let's move in our dumbass of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to get nerdy. I'm sorry. I've been playing Tekken, which is a fighting game, for the past 2 weeks. I'm grinding in the ladders. I want to get up there, and I'm actually doing pretty decent. But people are cheating after 2 weeks. Why do you cheat? It's a video game. We talk about bottom line. You play a video game for entertainment. How's that entertaining? How are you entertaining yourself? Yeah. And that's just my dumbass league. There's a guy who grinded up all the way up to be the number one, whatever he is in the world, and he just freaking cheated the whole way through. He has a macro thing on his computer where it makes the enemy's health go to 0. As soon as the round starts, they knock out, KO, he moves on, he advances.
Yeah.
Cheating. How is that entertaining to you? I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to get into this real quick because, yes, my girlfriend did bring up a personal point, like describing people also like person first language in a way, like instead of saying a dementia person, say a person with dementia.
Yeah.
Right? They're a person first, human first. Anyways. And then Deb also brought up, when you were talking about white rappers, do either of you remember the 1991 rap song by the British group EMF, You're Unbelievable?
You're unbelievable.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. There's a few white rap groups out there.
We love NF.
NF's great too. Yeah, NF's awesome. I love NF. Check it out. But like, even just like in soul and Motown, there were some white groups too. Bee Gees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, again, there are people who are just racist.
And tell me that some people weren't blown away when they finally saw who Hall and Oates were.
Oh my God, dude. I love Hall and Oates. But it's like, and then I'm going to say it now before it even happens. There are people who say there are those who are like, oh, you just like white things then. You're whitewashed and stuff. No, I like
hip hop.
I like hip hop. I just like, bottom line, music in general. I listen to metal too, by the way.
Yeah.
And Howard Jones is my favorite singer, who's black. I don't know, just that we just went from like back to the story to my dumbass. But dumbass is the person who cheats in video games. People are dumb, and then people are just dumb for being yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
So my dumbass of the week is Speaker of the House,
We're
Mike
everywhere.
Johnson, the Republican from Louisiana, who complained and complained and complained because, let's face it, folks, that's all they want to do is complain. If they were smart, they would actually pass a bill and have something to run on against Democrats for November. But instead, they're following Orange Jesus instead of remembering that they're a co-equal branch of government and they have authority to do things and get it done. But this is the route they're taking. They deny funding, and then they try and impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and then they didn't have enough votes. Democrats came up with 216 no votes versus Republicans 214 yes. So you're a dumbass. You have egg on your face, and you have no idea what you're doing. And basically, you have no spine, no central nervous system. You're a jellyfish, and shut the hell up about the border because you're not serious. So that's my dumbass.
My girlfriend and I call those mouth breathers. Orange Jesus, Jeff's cracking up. I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's dumbassery.
Yeah, it is, man. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show.
We're sorry it was everywhere. It's our first one back for the year, kind of officially. We're going to start doing it routinely now. Come in and say hello on Fridays with us. Deb, thank you for being a part of the show. Beb, you're always there as well. Welcome, Deb. But yes, I'm Zane.
I'm Gene.
And it's been Hanging with Uncle.
Treat each other the way you want to be treated.
Be humane.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.